The way I like to describe the DNA, it's a blueprint. This is where, what your body is going to be, and then your labs are a snapshot. This is where you are right now. And if I
right
have
now.
both
Yeah,
of those data points, just those 2 data points, your blueprint and where you are right now, I could give you an idea of where you're headed. Then I get your lifestyle, what you're
exactly.
doing, what you're eating, how much you're sleeping. I can see around corners. I can tell you, "Hey, within 5
Absolutely.
years, you're gonna be here. Within a
Yep.
couple of years, you're gonna be here." And then that's
Yep.
why preventative care can step in and help with so many things. It's just knowing where you're from, where you are right now, I can tell you where you're going.
Welcome to the Everyday Epigenetics, raw, real, relatable podcast. We're your hosts, Susan Robbins, certified epigenetic human performance coach,
and Kate King, licensed psychotherapist, board-certified art therapist, and award-winning author. Together, we bring 2 perspectives, 2 styles, and 1 shared passion for epigenetics.
On this podcast, we delve into topics such as environment, nutrition, fitness, mindset, social dynamics, and trauma as they pertain to epigenetic expression in a way that's relatable to everyone.
We recognize that everyone's needs are unique. There are no one-size-fits-all solutions for your mind, body, and heart. The true magic lies within you.
So if you're ready to create a radiant life through epigenetics and reclaim your authentic self, then buckle up. Here we go. Welcome to the Everyday Epigenetics, raw, real, relatable podcast. I'm your host, Susan Robbins, and
I am your co-host, Kate King.
Richard Gamiz.
Yeah, and we have our guest Richard is on here too. And this is the place where we talk about everything, lifestyle and environment, and how it relates to our genetic expression. And our guest today is the fabulous Richard Gamiz. So I met Richard, as you all know, I'm a DNA coach and certified epigenetic human performance coach, let's put it that way. And DNA is one of the platforms I use. And that's how I actually met Richard, was in my very first training. It was in Chicago in like September of 2019. And we just meshed, and he lives in Florida, and we've stayed in touch over these years. And I reached out to him and said, "Hey, you need to come on the podcast. We need to talk about men." But let me tell you a little bit about Richard first. So he's a nationally certified physician associate specializing in personalized, precision-driven health optimization.
Right.
Love it. With a clinical background in orthopedic and neurosurgical medicine, he's worked with professional athletes, high-performing executives, and health-conscious biohackers to help them unlock their peak physical and cognitive potential. He's the founder of Live Health Strong, an age management medicine and human performance practice that integrates advanced genetic testing, biomarker analysis, and longevity science into strategic, data-driven protocols. He helps clients create elite-level wellness plans tailored to their unique biology, whether the goal is to enhance performance, improve recovery, optimize hormones, or extend lifespan. And that's what it's about, personalized health. Am I right, brother?
Yep, love that. Love that. I've been in healthcare a long time, and nothing's made me this excited about healthcare in a long time. When I first got into orthopedic surgery years ago, that was pretty awesome, like, being there, experiencing that, but what we could do now, this proactive instead of reactive for
Exactly.
health and teaching people, it's life-changing. This is big.
Yeah.
It is. It's a total game change.
Yeah.
We've the model, the medical model, all these years, again, like you said, has been reactive.
Yeah,
And it's all, let's treat the sick person.
right.
But what do we do to take the people that are well and keep them well,
Yep,
or to get them well and keep them there?
yep,
Big difference in
yeah.
philosophies there. So today we're actually going to talk about men's health. Men, I feel, are the forgotten ones. You hear all the marketing out there is to women and menopause. Yeah, I get it. I'm postmenopausal. Kate's not there yet, but you'll get it. You get there,
No hurry.
right? And just women. And the men are here with the dad bods. And we joke about the dad bods. And someone who are like, I love a dad bod. I look at a dad bod and go, it's not a healthy body.
Right.
And that's the reality of it. And I'm starting to see, I get a lot more men coming to me when they feel that they have this safe space to come to, because they just don't know where to go.
Yeah.
They go to the regular doctor, nobody tests anything, or they just look and go, you're fine. Just clean up your diet. But what's the clean up
yeah,
the
that
diet?
doesn't mean anything. That's
It makes
worthless.
nothing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm sure you love it when someone says, "Oh, I eat clean." I'm like,
Oh,
"Ooh,
what does that
gonna be a
mean?
good
Yeah,
one."
exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Because it's what they've learned, what everybody else is doing.
Yeah.
So let's talk a bit, because the the what are you seeing in your practice with men coming to you? Because testosterone levels have been,
Oh
and we
God.
brought this up
Yeah,
before the
they're
show,
bottoming out. They're plummeting. Plummeting.
plummeting, young and old. We know that they're going to drop gradually as we get older anyway.
Yeah.
But young,
Yeah.
20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, like
Yeah,
dropping.
I've got clients in my 30s that have the testosterone levels that 20 years ago, that would have been somebody in their 60s. The levels are so low. The statistics is it's dropping in general, men's testosterone levels at somebody at the age of 30, not as you're aging, but at the same age, men's testosterone levels are dropping 1% per year, and that's been happening for 50 years. Men's testosterone, somebody who's in their 30, they have 50% of the testosterone that a 30-year-old would have had 50 years ago. So it's not just that
Unbelievable.
we're aging. Now, aging
Yeah.
slows it down, but it's everything in
Mhm.
our environment. All of the plastics, the xenoestrogens, the seed oils, all the inflammatory stuff, the lack of sleep. None of us sleep.
Oh, yeah.
I can't say none of us. Most men, it's almost a point of pride when they say, "Oh, I only sleep 6 hours a night." That's where I start. I go, "Okay, testosterone is part of the picture, but your lifestyle and that the lack of sleep, of course you're not gonna recover, you're not making your hormones, you're not sleeping." So
Yeah. Yeah.
it's all involved, and it seems like just men in general, they have a little bit harder time talking about their health, especially when they think it's something private to them and they think it's just them. Most men who come in with low testosterone levels, it's all the same complaints. Like we just talked about the dad bod, the brain fog,
Yeah.
the lack of energy, the lack of motivation, all of that. It's all the same complaint. And then they just but they're afraid to tell somebody because they think they don't even know that all of that is because of the low testosterone. Then they'll go, "Yeah, I'm having some trouble with my sex drive, or I'm having this," and then I'm going, "Yeah, it all starts to add up."
Do you think
No,
it's
you see,
related to men feeling shame around just not being functioning like robots, or do you think that comes from?
Yes, I think so. It's a man thing. You got to be inside of one of these brains to understand that. I think most men will understand that. They just don't want to bring that up, and even sometimes when asked, they'll say, "No, it's fine."
Yeah.
yeah.
But the
Culturally,
reality is there's something in there that's going on. Right.
yeah, culturally in the West, I think, and other cultures as well, there's this pressure on men that they're supposed to be like the rock and the stable one. And women, we have the monthly cycle, we have the menopause cycle. There's so much that happens hormonally with women that's variable. And I feel like
Yeah.
sometimes men get put into this position of forced stability, which is really unfair and it's not realistic. And oftentimes, maybe the dad bod is happening at the same time as menopause is happening in the house. And I think in a lot of households, the woman kind of like can be that alpha energy and she can just take a lot of the focus. And so if there's somebody who's not well in the house, the woman might get the medical attention or the support for it, and the man might just move into the background and be the wallpaper while he supports her, but ultimately not supporting himself and feeling a shame
And
spiral.
he's not gonna be there for her either.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes,
And then she continues her alpha,
it's
and
a lot easier
which
for women to
makes him cower back, pull back more.
Yeah.
And you talked about the sex drive too, and I've come across guys who've had the low T, their sex drive is actually, they think it's okay. So they don't even address the testosterone,
Yeah.
because I'll say, "What's your testosterone level?" I don't know, it's like 400 something, but my sex drive is okay. All right, but maybe your heart's not,
Yeah,
because
the
we know it
cardiovascular,
affects,
right, exactly. It's all
right?
systems, it's not one thing, it's yeah. That's the other thing. I do
Complex
get guys
system.
that'll come in and go, "Oh, yeah, check my testosterone levels is low," and they think that that's the one piece. That's it. This is gonna fix it all.
That's it.
I'm going, I gotta
Yeah.
tell everybody. I go, "Look, that is literally just one piece of this puzzle. It might be a big piece, it might be 25 to 30% of the piece, but it's not gonna fix all of this other stuff." And then we get the insulin markers and their inflammatory markers, and their insulin is high, glucose is high, A1C is high,
Yeah.
CRP is high. Yeah, there's a lot more that we got to address here. Yeah, I can
Yeah.
fix a little bit of it, but if you one of the other things I'd like to do, just to come back to that, I wish that I would have done it. My son is 19 now. When he turns 20, I'm gonna get a full panel of his hormones. So when he's
Oh, yeah.
45, 50, he can go to his doctor or me if I'm still around going, "Hey, this is where I wanna be. I don't wanna feel 60. Why would I wanna feel 60? I wanna feel tw"
Yeah.
and we can do that now. Yeah,
Yeah, and why shouldn't we?
right.
That's what you hear, "I don't wanna get on hormones because then I have to be on the rest of my life, and it's just part of life." Okay, but why shouldn't we feel amazing?
Yeah,
And the hormones play
yeah.
a major part in it. Why should we not feel that way?
That's exactly. The, "Oh, getting old sucks," or "You're supposed to feel like that." "Oh, this is supposed" that's bullshit. I'm not gonna fall for that. I'm not falling for that.
No.
I'm gonna be
Yeah.
60 pretty soon, and I tell people that, and they
Ditto.
go, "Oh, shit,"
Yep.
nobody can think that. I
Yep.
started this process when I was in my early 40s. I went to go see a primary care who did a lot of blood work. I was impressed when I went in there. And he goes come back a couple of weeks later, he goes through my blood work and he goes, "Man," he goes, "You're doing great. It looks like you're 20. Your labs look like you're 20." And I was in my 40s. And he goes, "So why'd you come in if nothing's wrong, if you're feeling this good?" I go, "'Cause I need some direction. I wanna make sure this keeps going." And he goes, "Oh, just
You
keep doing
wanna
what you're
stay.
doing." He had no clue. He didn't know he
Mm.
goes, "Oh, just keep doing what you're doing." With I had no direction. I was just lucky at that point.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then so that's when I started digging in and found the epigenetics and this age management medicine, which I'll be at their conference tomorrow. I'll start in Miami. There's an age management medicine conference for 5 days. I'll be down there till Sunday.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Oh, I
fantastic.
didn't know about
Yeah,
that one.
yep.
So, k the biggest thing, again, you're bringing up, it's lifestyle. You can take all the hormones you want, you can take all the medicine you want, but if you don't get your lifestyle dialed in, the sleep, the stress, the right foods for your
Right.
body,
Yes,
the right
exactly.
types of
Yeah.
exercise, and all of it at the right time, you
Yes.
just you're not,
It
those
really
things
is.
are not
Yeah,
going to affect you as positively.
yeah.
But talk a bit about the benefits of having optimal testosterone.
I'll leave the sex drive and libido for last because everybody thinks that that's the first one. Yeah, and
That's it,
actually,
right?
most of the guys that have been working with me for a while, if we're having a conversation and this comes up amongst other people, because I know a lot of them and I see them in town, they'll actually say the same thing. "Oh, that's actually the last thing." Actually, now that I've started, I go the motivation, just waking up in the morning, you're ready to go. That tiredness is gone. The motivation to do something extra at work, because when you're feeling like that and you got low testosterone, I think one of the first thing that happens, especially in the workplace where you're competing with somebody who's 25, 30 years old, full of piss and vinegar, you're gonna let them do that job. You're gonna, "Oh, man, let the young guy do it." That's bullshit, you know?
Yep.
That's why you
Yep.
get stepped over. That's why that guy's gonna take your job in a couple of years. You're like, "Oh, I can do that. I'll take care of that." Whatever it is, whatever field you're in, whether it's finance or medicine or heavy labor, whatever it is, if you're feeling good and you're feeling motivated, you're gonna do that. You're gonna step
Yep.
up. Brain fog, that ability, "Hey, my brain's just not working right. I don't know why I'm always forgetting stuff. I keep forgetting stuff." The other one is, like, feeling overwhelmed, like everything is too much for you. That's absolutely a sign of low testosterone from somebody. Because when you're 20, 25 years old, I guess nowadays there are more men like that.
Yeah.
Usually, that's not the case, and it's probably that those 20 to 25-year-olds are like that because of the low testosterone levels. Uh,
Agree. It it's the get shit done hormone.
Yeah,
PTSD.
exactly. Yeah. Yeah,
That's what they
it's
call it, right?
100%. Absolutely. It's just how you feel about yourself, your self-confidence goes up. And then that's one of the things that our trainer, Dan Stickler, we talked a lot about. People will ask, I heard the people that are on start taking testosterone, they become assholes. And I go, and I'll tell them, I go, no, only if you already are an asshole. Then you just become a
It
bigger
just
asshole
brings it out.
because you can have more confidence in yourself. Oh, so that's funny. And then, of course, there's the sex drive and the pleasure of life, and whether you have a partner or not, pleasing your partner, it's all part of
Mhm.
life. And that is a huge part because if you're having it, some men might be okay with the low testosterone and themselves not having as much sex. They're okay with that, but their partner might not be. And that might lead to
Mhm.
other problems, even a divorce.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
And
yeah.
funny thing about this business is I'm not into causing divorces, so I tell men, I go, "Look, you probably gotta get your wife started too." Okay? Alright?
Yeah.
Well, because if
Yeah.
she's gotten used to you guys having sex twice a month, you're gonna want sex twice a week now or something.
Yeah.
You better make sure she's up to speed with you. So, I'll do her labs and everything as well also. Yeah.
There's
And I'm
probably something
that
there
sounds good.
about like working with people's mental projections of what aging should be, because I think a lot of people as they age, they just assume that they shouldn't be having as much sex. Or maybe by that time they've been together forever and the sex drive may be part of the problem, but maybe they're just not in love with each other anymore. And so that could be masking that there's a low testosterone problem because really
Exactly. Yeah.
they're on autopilot. So I wonder if you notch up the testosterone and you eliminate that as a factor, then it
Yeah.
gives people the opportunity to really look at their relationship and say, okay, so we know testosterone's not the issue, like
That's
what
not the
could
right.
be the
Yeah.
issue. And it might just open
Yeah.
doors for
Yeah.
them to heal their relationship or to fall in love again.
Absolutely. Good point. Great point.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm glad you brought that. I was actually just getting ready to ask you what your thoughts were on that with couples.
Right.
If you see that, like my husband has low testosterone, I actually ended my last long term, which was
Yeah.
several years ago now. He had very 300s.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
He had
None,
just
0,
turned
but yeah.
50 in
Yeah.
the 300s. We were 800 up
Yeah.
at least. And he's just like, I don't want to pay $60 a month to take testosterone. I kid you not. Like, I can't
That's $2
work
a
with
day.
this.
That's $2. The coffee costs more than that.
I know. And you talk about someone who was, and I'm not trashing him, great guy. I'm just talking to the
Right.
physical part.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But no drive, just like
But,
flatlined, right?
yeah. Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
don't mean sexually, just
No, it's
sexual,
just an
sexual
overall,
speak.
and that's exactly
But
yeah.
yeah, it was that
Yeah.
not getting shit done thing. And I had to walk away from that
Yeah.
because it was just like what Kate said. When you realize that that's the big part, or is it the relationship? Got along great, but I don't want just a companion. And so when you see that and someone's not willing to work with it,
Yeah.
that's an issue. And it's, why are you looking at guys? Why are you looking at, you're going to go to the bar or you're going to go to the convenience store and grab your 12 pack and come home and drink it,
Yeah.
but yet you're not going to go to the doctor and you're not willing to go on some supplements or get
Right.
some testosterone that can take you away from that.
Yeah.
It's
Here's the thing about that too is that it could be like a self-enabling process where they're off the hook, like they don't have to try that hard and they can coast. And if you can blame it on your low testosterone or
Yeah.
not wanting
yeah,
change, not
yeah,
embracing,
That
a
is
lot of
so
people,
true.
people
But
are terrified of change, right?
yeah.
First of
Oh,
all. And
100%. Yeah.
not only is it going to
crusaders.
and not only is it gonna change their life, but it's gonna change their relationships. It might change the way their body looks and feels. I have a friend who's married to a person who's a biker, like a bicyclist,
Yeah.
and there are different weight classes, and he didn't wanna gain too much weight, and when he went on testosterone,
Yeah.
body bulked up, and suddenly he was in a different weight class, and "I wanna do this. I
I don't
wanna
want
to the way it was." And so from her perspective, she's, "No, I'm liking the testosterone."
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah, I
Bringing
know.
partnership.
So
So
it's what's more important to you at that point.
yeah, so it's really interesting how people
Mhm.
things like this to enable their unhealthy behaviors or to keep themselves stuck or in kind of that lazy mode, that autopilot mode.
Yeah.
I think people have to grab testosterone like they would grab any kind of self-improvement stuff. They have to show up for it, and they have to kind of sail into the uncharted territories of where it's going to take them and see if they like it.
Yeah.
You know what I find interesting here as you're talking about this person? Coming from the PH 360, and Richard is also a certified PH 360 coach. I'm hearing like he's a cyclist, right? So first thing that pops in my head, he's probably a crusader, right? If he's like endurance cyclist. And here he's goal minded. There's the dopamine, right? The dopamine drive. He's totally goal minded. That's his number one goal. The wife is down here because she's not his primary goal. And so he gets the testosterone. That testosterone is taking away from the primary goal. He's not willing. The blinders are on. So he's not willing to look at, okay, but this is making her.
What is this going to do for the rest of his life?
Happy.
Yeah.
Because it's that one goal. And I think when we can look at it from, and I want to talk about DNA here in a bit too, but from like different genetic SNPs, a DNA standpoint of what drives somebody, but understanding, and that's why I love the PH 360, because you understand what motivates someone. And when you can understand what motivates them, with likely this dude being a dopamine driven guy, all goals, that is his only thing is how do I get to that finish line on the bike? Not how do I continue to work with my relationship as much. It's really a different way you can work with someone. And that's why I think we do so well with it, because you can predict where they're going to go with it.
Yeah.
But one other thing I wanted to touch on too was it's not just all the brain fogs and stuff, but it's protective. It's protective with the heart. If you've got low
T3, yes, absolutely.
Low T3 and low testosterone, you've got all these other health benefits that it's not just for the sex drive and for brain fog people. Like your body needs these hormones to work together with other systems.
Your heart is a muscle, probably the most important muscle in the body. And if you're making that a little bit stronger over time, I've noticed that over about 6 months or so, being on a level of low, steady level of testosterone, lipid levels start to improve. I don't know if it's necessarily due to the testosterone primarily or secondarily, like they started working out.
Right, the lifestyle you're bringing.
Yeah, I've got men.
Like a ripple effect that happens.
They haven't worked out in years, and you go, I'm not interested in working out, and I'm going, okay, we'll get to that. And I said, well, damn, let's call it movement. I'm not even going to call it working out because I know you like to work out. Let's call it movement. 6 months later, they're totally in. They're all in on their exercise because the thing is, it just didn't have the motivation.
The motivation's up.
The motivation is up. So now the triglycerides and cholesterol is better. LDL is better. So it's not, I don't think it's the primary cause of helping with the lipids, but I think it does improve that. And again, anything that improves the heart is going to improve your brain function and your clarity and your cognitive function and delay any cognitive decline that for a lot of people is going to happen as we age.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. So what are you seeing? So let's talk a bit about DNA. Because, the DNA testing, people ask me, actually, it's a chiropractor who was a PH 360 client of mine. And she reached out to me on Sunday and said, I've got these issues and I really want to do the DNA testing. My husband doesn't think it's actually worth it. It's something that when you do it, you will never look back and go, shit, why did I spend the money on that?
No.
Why didn't I do this before? And why do you have to wait? Why wait until something is wrong?
Wrong.
Right?
No,
you want to know
up front.
What are your propensities?
Yeah.
Pure probabilities and propensities. We have controlled to 95% of how our DNA expresses. That's what this whole show is about. All these things with lifestyle, environment. And are you seeing when we'll talk a bit about the testing, how you like to use it, any specific SNPs that you like, because I'm thinking they're probably similar to the ones that I really like to go to.
Funny thing is gone through a couple of generations of companies that I'm using, right? So
Oh, yeah.
uh,
Yep.
so the one right now, they're testing, I think it's 865,000 SNPs is what they're
It
testing.
is. It
And
is.
then
Yeah.
so what I have chosen the reports that I like. So they'll put 20 or 30 SNPs together for either cardiovascular, metabolism, going back to the hormones for testosterone, for all your hormones, thyroid and everything. So how your body, the propensity that your body has to make the hormones, estrogen, thyroid, all of them, insulin,
Yep.
and then the just as important is how your body breaks them down. Because if a lot of people, actually, probably most people that I've come across, they have an increased rate of breaking down testosterone into estrogen. So
Yes.
for men and
Yes.
women need as testosterone as much as men do. It's just a much
Absolutely.
smaller number, but they absolutely need it. And if you're breaking it down too fast into estrogen, it's not that estrogen is a problem, but you're depleting your
Testosterone.
testosterone.
Yeah. And you can become more estrogen dominant through that
Right.
too,
And
right?
then there could
And
be
if you
some
don't,
problems, right, with the way that
with
estrogen is
getting rid of
broken
the
down.
metabolite.
So getting way down that pathway of how this is all getting broken down, and we can slow some of that down. And then there's some people who have SHBG, is sex hormone binding globulin. That one absolutely gets checked. Some people have a
Yep.
propensity for higher SHBG. And the easiest way I can describe that is SHBG takes your free testosterone, your usable testosterone, and makes it unusable. It's a binding,
Gobbles it up.
yeah, so it's a binding, a transporter, but once it gets attached, it's never gonna come loose again. So you have a
Yep.
problem. How much easiest way, imagine a military force, 100,000 military ready, armed to the teeth. SHBG comes by and takes the weapons away from 70% of them. Now you only got 30% ready
Yeah.
to go. And that's
So true.
exactly what that is. And that's a good way to know that. Now, fixing SHBG is a different story because at least we know that it is an issue for that person. The breakdown
Yeah.
of the testosterone to estrogen is part of that. Then you do that. The way I like to describe the DNA, it's a blueprint. This is where, what your body is going to be, and then your labs are a snapshot. This is where you are right now. And if I
Right now. Yeah.
both of those data points, just those two data points, your blueprint and where you are right now, I could give you an idea of where you're headed. Then I get your lifestyle, what you're
Exactly.
doing, what you're eating, how much you're sleeping. I can see around corners. I can tell you, hey, within 5
Absolutely.
years, you're gonna be here. Within a
Yep.
couple of years, you're gonna be here. Your testosterone 3 months later, we do another testosterone level, it's a little bit lower, 3, 4, 5 points lower. I know where you're gonna be 5 years from now. I don't need to wait. And then that's
Yep.
why preventative care can step in and help with so many things. It's just knowing where you're from, where you are right now, I can tell you where you're going.
Yep. Absolutely. Quickly.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
quickly. I look at someone's labs
Yeah.
and then the DNA, I'm like, it's written.
Yeah,
Now, how do
exactly.
you
Yeah.
want to change? How do you
Yeah.
want to change this
Right.
chapter? Do you
Right.
want to start a new story or do you want to keep going down this road and it's not going to be
Right.
a good ending?
Yeah.
Kate and I both worked with a man named Eric, and we've been following him on the podcast. We're actually doing my third follow-up with him, the two of us, next week. He's
Yeah.
down 70 pounds. He had the low
Fantastic.
testosterone.
Yeah.
Lifestyle was crap, like all of it. And he's made some major strides. But when we went over his labs, I've told him in 10 years of coaching, they were the worst labs I've ever seen. He was high risk in everything,
Everything.
down to
Yeah.
the particle sizes
Yeah.
off the chart,
Everything. Yeah.
insulin resistance, and the liver function tanked, kidneys. It was, and he said, "I don't know. I think you probably saved me like 5 years being here, able to be with my kids because he has some young kids." And I said, "I don't think you would have lasted 5 years. Those
Yeah.
kind of labs is like a walking disaster ready to
Mhm.
happen."
Yep.
When you look at the two, and it was so much of it was lined up with genetics. And I talked to him last night, and I still caught him at one point say, "Well, my father and my uncle or brother, I can't remember, have this issue too." And I go, "Doesn't matter. Doesn't
Good.
matter if it runs genetically. What are you doing? Let's go
Yeah.
back over what food
Yeah.
you're doing." And so again, people tend to draw back to that. They see their genetics, they see it in there, but you have
Control.
control.
Yeah.
you have control.
So I understand how you can control so much of this, like how you move, when you move, what you eat, what you do and do not drink. Things like this feel very much in control. I have a question related to sleep because I
Okay.
feel like sleep is so incredibly important. We all know it. We've seen the
Yeah.
research. And sometimes the things people are doing that inhibit their sleep are within their control, right? Like they're doom scrolling
Yeah.
at midnight. Put your phone down, right?
Scrolling, I
Or
love it.
or they're, like, going out late, drinking ton of alcohol. There are things you can control, but what do you do to help the insomniacs who are doing, like, everything right, but what's fueling their insomnia might be, like, a level of anxiety or a brain that doesn't wanna turn off, and maybe they don't go on an SSRI for anxiety because
Yeah.
it's not really inhibiting their functioning in major ways, but, like, sleep is something that I find the harder you try, the less it works. So
Yep.
how do you help
It
someone?
builds more anxiety. For some people, it'll start to
Yeah.
build more anxiety, and
I
if
just
they're wearing a tracker for their sleep,
Oh my gosh, I can
it'll
never
start
wear
to
that.
build
I
more
would
yeah,
anxiety. "Oh my
yeah.
god,
I
this
would
isn't working. Oh my
constantly.
god, this is." I
Yeah.
have a few answers about that.
Yeah.
There is,
'Cause I just
I
went
refer somebody out if I have to. I am certainly I know a little about a lot, okay, but there are certain things where, okay, this is beyond me. So there's actually cognitive behavioral therapy for insomnia now, and I've listened to some of those lectures, been to some of those lectures, and there's a couple of things that I do work with patients on, and one of the couple of things, like for the anxiety about somebody who's waking up in the middle of the night and they had to get up to pee, they had to get up, and now they go back to bed and they can't go back to sleep. So they're worried about something. So there's a couple of little tricks with that could help set their mind at ease. And one of them would be have them schedule in, especially for like crusaders where everything has to be decked out,
it
uh,
was, yep.
schedule it in your worry time. From 3 o'clock to 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock to 6 o'clock, or half an hour every day, that's your worry time. So if you woke up at 2:30 in the morning, you're worried about something, might not I got this scheduled for tomorrow. Oh, shit, I was already thinking about that today. I got notes on that. I can worry about that tomorrow at 2:30. I'm not going to worry about it now. So it eases that off a little bit. And then the other one is the first week, this will suck for somebody who is having trouble sleeping. The first week, all 7 days, they add up the time that they slept, the time that they went to bed, the time that they got up, and any interruptions. If they were asleep a half an hour or an hour in the middle of the night, you reduce that. So if they were sleeping 5 hours of actual sleep that week, that's all they get the next week. So if they gotta be up at 6 in the morning for work, they can't go to sleep till 1 in the morning. That way,
Ooh,
they pass out. They're going to sleep.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
At one
Oh, yeah.
o'clock, they're dead tired, they're ready to go to sleep. They wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning and they go, "Oh my god, that wasn't enough." If they could do that for a week, then you can let them sleep a half an hour more at the beginning. Now you can go to bed at 12:30. If they can sleep all the way through, now you can go to bed at 12. And then you start to expand that backwards and keeping some of those same parameters of, "Hey, your worry time is already scheduled. You don't need to worry about that right now."
So it's
So I
important
think
to
that
be exhausted so that you're
yeah,
so exhausted that you don't
exactly.
wake up. But then there's that cycle too of being so exhausted that you can't sleep.
But
Like,
That's what I was just gonna
right.
what's
say.
happening, like, physiologically when that happens? What's going on in
Yeah,
your body when you're too tired to sleep?
And I'm gonna speak to this because I've
yeah,
been dealing with this myself for 5 months. And I also know an activator who is behind on sleep has trouble getting or is exhausted, has issues with deep sleep.
right.
Now, I haven't had issues with deep sleep, but my issue started off with back pain, chronic SI that kept me up. I'd have to sleep with body pillow, other pillow, and my legs at a 90-degree angle.
Oh my
Sometimes
goodness. Yeah, wow.
Sometimes my left knee up by my ear, okay?
Yeah,
I'm almost 62, I'm flexible AF, I found out, okay?
yeah,
But that's how I would have to do it. I just couldn't lay anywhere flat, but it would wake me up in the middle of the night, and I couldn't get back to sleep. There was nothing I could do. Finally, it started getting a bit better. I had to break down and take a leave. I don't wanna take that stuff, I know what it
right.
does to the body, but it was the only
Yeah,
way I could get sleep. So
yeah,
I
yeah,
started sleeping better, getting a little bit better. And then it improved to where the back wasn't keeping me up as much, but now I developed an anxiety about waking up in the middle of the night
sleep.
and not getting back to sleep. Literally anxiety over sleeping.
Yeah.
Like going to the bathroom going, do I look at my watch? Do I not look at my watch? Because I take my thyroid. The last time
That's
I
terrible.
it's 5
Sleep is
o'clock.
so
I'm gonna sleep. That's what, and I broke down to Kate. I broke down to everybody that I was like a shell of myself for the last 4 months because I couldn't sleep. I couldn't think. I couldn't train the way I want to train. I would get out there and have one good night. And then the next night, I'm thinking
Yeah.
I'm back and I'd crash again. So I tried all the different supplements. I used the
Yeah.
medical AI that Shay has. I'm trying
Right.
everything. And I have to be careful because I'm a CONTAA. Give me a methyl donor, I can't sleep.
Oh,
So
yeah.
too much protein, I can't sleep. So it's a really weird brain that doesn't want to shut off anyway. Okay, so cut to this. What was it? Almost 2 weeks ago. Now I had been in a relationship that probably wasn't the healthiest for me.
Yeah.
And I had a work situation that wasn't healthy for me. I ended the work situation in March and I thought, that's it. This, like a little emotional lug nut in the SI, was going to be gone. It felt better, but it wasn't it. And this is where I'm going to go with this. The relationship ended almost 2 weeks ago. And I have been sleeping like a fucking dream.
Huh. And
Now,
yeah.
not as good as when I spent a night in the ER last week. I was up till 3 a.m. I came back. I was like, I slept 9 hours the next day. That's the best I've slept in 6 months. You know, much, and I'm, oh my God. But where I was going was, look at what's happening in your life.
Yeah. Yeah.
Check your relationships, your
Yeah.
environment, because all of that, my relationship, my environment, I haven't been anywhere because I was too tired to go anywhere. And I work, eat, sleep, breathe in this condo.
That
Get away.
totally be it. Yeah, you gotta get away. I don't I don't like
connect
working
your
from home.
secondary.
I'm not good from working from home. It does create stress for me. I've realized that if I have a home office and I'm home and I'm not at the office, I feel like I'm wasting time.
Yeah.
Like,
Okay.
hey, you should be
Okay.
doing something. So,
Yeah.
if I wake up, let's say I'm having a little bit of trouble sleeping, it's really easy for me to come and sit down at the computer and get to work. Instead, what I've learned
Yeah.
to do
Yeah.
is a great way I heard this, one of those CBTI talks was pick up something that you would be totally embarrassed if your boss busted you doing that at work. Okay. So, like some stupid magazine or something like that, fingering through
Yep.
a Costco magazine at work. You would never do that. Something that's just totally mindless or something like that, a catalog, People magazine, something that you're
Yeah.
not emotionally involved. You don't care. You're just killing time. Go do that. Do
Yeah.
not turn on
Yeah.
the computer. Do not start
No.
scrolling.
Don't.
Do not look at the stock market or the news. Well, it's just going to create more stress. It's going to create more worries. Go do something.
Yeah.
Just totally just
Yeah.
off the start. Go read a book that doesn't get you emotionally involved. And then
Yeah.
Oh, that's so
And
important. I have like my daytime books and my nighttime books, and
Right.
it's important
Yeah.
not to get yourself
totally different.
to, especially for people who can really narrow in. You don't want that before bed. And it's
Exactly.
like
Yeah.
what you were saying, Richard, about how the testosterone improves all these parts of your life that you wouldn't think about, and the ripple effect. There's like this emotional component to everything that people don't always think about. We are holistic systems. We're beings that have all of these different
100%.
levels and dimensions. And so whether you're talking about your sleep or your low testosterone or anything else, you have to factor in your relationships, your lifestyle, your food, your DNA,
It's going
your
to show up
all of
somewhere.
it.
Right. Something,
Yeah.
one of those links is missing and it's going to show up somewhere. And I spent some time working in chronic pain management. And a lot of the folks that are in chronic pain management, there is an underlying emotional problem.
Right.
It could be
Absolutely.
relationship, it could be family, it could be other stuff going on.
Work.
And it's showing up somewhere. The system's got to break somewhere. There's
But
going
I
to
mean, it takes a level of courage for someone who's I don't know what it is. It could be
Yeah.
any one of these many factors. You have to be brave to be willing to
Yeah.
find out what it is, and
Yeah.
that's where I think a lot of people get hung up, and they're like, "Oh, I'm just not gonna do it," because
Yeah.
Yep.
hovering in this sort of okay place
Yeah.
where they're
Right.
surviving and life is a-okay, but it's not great. And to get to that great place requires either a little bit of risk or a little bit of courage or the bravery to tell someone you're not happy in the relationship or to face yourself on a level.
Go one step a little bit deeper,
That's
or find a coach or find a healthcare provider, which I doubt you're gonna find, that's going to ask you that
You're the
question.
coach.
Because a
Yeah,
lot of people
exactly.
just don't know. They don't know that. We know that, but, the vast majority of people don't understand that. Nobody ever explained them that. They never took a course on any of that. They have
Yeah.
no idea. One of the biggest things about our healthcare system is that it's built for disease. They're gonna wait for it to show up, and then what are they looking for? They're looking for a procedure, or they're looking for a drug. That's there is
Yep.
there is no diagnosis code for, "I kept you from getting sick." I can't bill you from keeping you from getting sick, but I can bill
Or
you
give you a pill.
sick. I Once you're sick,
Yeah.
bill the shit out of your insurance, but until then, I
Yep.
can't bill anything. So I have to wait for you to get sick. The other thing is doctors, that's why I said that about clinicians, it's not their fault, it's just that the system, they don't have
It's a
time.
system.
You go see a primary care and you tell them, like, "My SI joint hurts." "Oh, go see the orthopedic surgeon." You go see the orthopedic
Uh-huh.
surgeon, he has less time. "Oh, you need an injection." The injection worked, but the pain came back, you need an SI joint fusion. That's all they're worried about. They're not gonna
Yep.
ask you, "How are you sleeping?" "Oh, I'm sleeping on
Yep.
my left
What's
side,
your home
it
life like?
hurts." That's not what he that's not yeah, that's what he's asking, but that's not
Yeah.
the right question. It's what times are you sleeping? What are you eating? Are you getting inflammatory foods? Are you doing the right exercises? They don't have the time for that. They've
Yeah.
never
No. Mm-mm.
so
And that the other thing on sleep is we didn't touch on testosterone helps with sleep.
yes.
If
Yeah.
I've noticed when mine was tanked, I'm waking up sweating in the middle of the night. It's
Yeah.
different from a hot flash,
Right.
ladies. It's
Yeah.
different. It was like torso only. I didn't sweat. It was just like I would
Eat.
burn up.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's the
Yeah.
weirdest feeling, and I couldn't sleep. And when I started on the T, so again, it could be something that is hormonal contributing, and the testosterone makes a difference, guys. Is that
Yeah.
a
You need to
factor?
find somebody who's gonna dig in and check in
Yeah.
on all of your systems, not just one
Yeah.
system. Never just about
So
one system, and
what you need is a team. You can't just have your
yeah.
primary care doctor or your therapist. You need to have a team of people who are specifically tailored to what your exact body needs, what your heart, what your mind needs. And then this is another barrier for people is the emotional investment is one, but also the financial investment. It gets expensive to have this team. And so I think
Yeah.
it's important for when someone is in that dire place where like life is terrible and they've got a real problem, they're more willing to invest that money. But with
Isn't
epigenetics,
that
it's
terrible?
like we want to teach them to invest that money before there's a
Early.
problem so that you
Yeah.
prevent the problem.
It'll
But
be
it's,
less expensive if you invest
oh
pay
my
Oh,
God,
hell yeah.
it's
yeah.
hard to
But
convince people of that though,
No, I
because
know.
they don't want to fix it
I
until
tell
it's
them,
broken.
your future self is gonna be really happy you did this.
Yep. What do
There's
you
some
say?
of
You're
those
gonna pay now or pay later? But
yeah, and
either
a lot
way,
more
you're
later.
gonna pay.
Yeah. How much does it cost to be sick? To one hospital visit is gonna cost you $10,000. You go
Thousands
you
of
know,
dollars.
thousands of dollars. They gotta run a CT scan or something, it's $10,000 just for a CT scan these days.
Are you
Yeah.
telling me that? Because I had one last week and I said,
Oh,
"I'll
yeah,
go
well, look at your
down." They
bill.
said
When
it's
your
gonna be the
EOB
same.
comes in, it's gonna be $10,000 just for the CT scan. Yeah, yeah,
But really
And it was
that's like the beauty of the epigenetic work, right? Is that
yeah,
you get to see something like you were saying, you can map it, you can chart it
yeah,
and see before it comes, and you can stop it from ever happening. It's like the
oh,
best
yeah.
gift you give to yourself. But I
yeah,
wish that the average person would be willing to hear that because so often they're on autopilot, they're too busy, they're stressed out. They would say, I don't have time for this. I don't have
right.
time. I
Yeah.
don't
Thank
have
God
the
to
That's why
Susan
we're
K
here.
for podcasts like this,
That's
exactly,
why we're
to
here.
get the word
Right?
out, 'cause
Exactly.
it's
To get the word
available, it's
out.
here, but
And that
people don't know.
and that what we do is personalized health.
Right.
That it's you I did a video from Mountaintop last
Oh
week,
god, nice,
and I was
yeah.
like, "Hey, you, I see you on your mindless scrolling. You, mindless
Perfect.
scrolling. looking for what's going to help you get out of the crap that you're in. I didn't say
Yeah.
it in those words, but looking for answers from from the influencers, from the experts who don't know you. And you
Right.
mindlessly scroll and you're trying this and that. And how many thousands of dollars are these people? I have a female that has spent thousands of dollars with big name people.
Yeah.
And she got
Just
nowhere.
just trying the latest hack, just trying the
Trying anything because they're desperate. And it's like we can take the guesswork out of that
Yeah.
by looking at you and specifically you. That's why I started this podcast.
Right.
Because
Yeah.
people need to know that there's help available instead of letting your quality of life suffer and spending literally thousands of dollars and being married to these medications and
Yeah.
so
And your general health span, because we're all gonna age, but when you're in your 60s, do you wanna be on 5, 6, 7? I think the average 60-year-old is on 7 different medications.
ah,
So, what
ah,
is that doing to your life? How much is that costing? Are you able to travel? Are you able to do the things you wanna do because you got 3 doctor's appointments this month that you can't change, and you got surgery coming up, as opposed to making an investment early, starting early, and it's never too late. I got
never.
plenty of people ask me, "Man, is it too
Yep.
late for me to start?" I go, "Do you still have a pulse? If you got a
Right.
pulse,
I've got
not
one
too
that's
late."
82 right now.
Yeah, it's never too late. Yeah,
Never too late. Never. And it's never too early. I have had
agreed.
people
Right.
have
Yeah.
me DNA test their children.
I did all
Wedding
of my kids
gift,
immediately. I've done my
right?
kids, like, 3 different times with 3 different companies just to yeah, I've
So
done
what?
mine at
But
3
what a
different companies
gift.
as well. Yeah,
And I did a whole podcast. You have to watch and see what you think, but where I talked about not all DNA testing is created equally. And you even look at a
great.
big company, DNA company, and Cash is out there talking all the time, right?
Yeah.
You look at the number of SNPs
Oh god, it's
and the
so garbage.
quality,
Yeah, yeah.
it's completely I have a post that the research team put together. It's you you have to look and know that there's quality out there and then
Yeah.
there's things that are subpar.
To
And
me, it's almost like the food labels. The more shit that they got on the front label, the more shit they're hiding. So the more they're advertising, the
more
more
bells and
they're paying
whistles.
on advertising, all because they're paying to get in front of your eyeballs on that doom scrolling. They're all paying. The more they're
Yep,
paying to be there, the bigger ripoff it is what it seems like.
agree.
You look
Yeah.
at a food label and it says non-GMO, non this, non that, not the other, and it has 15 little things on the front. You turn it around and read the ingredients, it's probably garbage. If they're just
Or
giving
my favorite, I'm gonna test 5 SNPs
Yeah,
around methylation
yeah,
and tell
we
you
all know who that
everything that's
is.
wrong
Yeah,
with you,
right.
but yet
5
he's the expert out there because he got on one podcast
Yeah,
out and
yeah.
just blew it up, and people aren't getting what they want. It's a one-page report
Can you
to
imagine?
buy
I
the
couldn't do that to
supplements.
somebody. I couldn't it would
I
have
could
good I couldn't do that. I
no!
wouldn't be able to sleep. Yeah,
So I've had people do that one and then do mine, and they're like, "Oh my god." It's I the service that you can provide by giving life-changing information to people, life-saving in some ways, is just you just can't put a price tag on it. Bef I wanna hop into supplements, touch on some
okay. Yeah,
supplements
absolutely.
because
Yep,
I know I have, like, my group of ones that
yep.
I really like that and again, they might not be right for every single
Everybody.
person,
Right,
but
absolutely.
ones that the research is there, they're proven, and I've seen with the majority of my clients and myself that they're super helpful. What are some of your go-tos that
Well,
you like?
first of all, going back to the DNA, you probably do that nutritional sensitivity, so that when I do it, it tells me if somebody has trouble breaking down beta carotene into the usable form of
Yep,
vitamin A, beta carotene. So you have to get the vitamin A in the form of palmitate. So I'll go through the entire list with them from A to Z. There are some tried and true that I think all of my clients I recommend. It just seems like everybody is vitamin D deficient. I don't know
absolutely.
anybody that they come in and they get their first test done and they're above 60. They might be in their 40s, some people way below 30. Oh, it's 50. In that reference range on the right, 50 is okay. I know that's not okay.
No,
Above 60.
there's
60
in
to 90
range
would be optimized,
and
right.
optimal. Let me ask a quick question, because I myself, and I have some other clients I've seen that are over 100, no issues with it. Do
There
you really tell
could
people?
be. So one of the things is with that, if the person's they could start to develop. So if they get taking vitamin D with K, you get better
Yep,
absorption
always with K.
into the bone.
Yep,
If the person has that vitamins above 100 and they're taking calcium and they're not getting magnesium and vitamin K, there's a possibility,
yeah,
good possibility that calcium
calcification.
could get deposited in the blood vessels. So it's
Yep,
okay. Ideally, it shouldn't be over 100, 60 to 90, 60 to 100 is better. Just gotta be careful with what other supplements are getting in there at the same time and how it's getting
yep.
processed.
And
Um,
always take the D with K.
right,
Always take
absolutely.
D3, K2.
Along with the good high level, high quality omega-3. The
100%.
vitamin D is fat soluble, so if you're drinking it on an empty stomach with water, it's not gonna get absorbed. So it has to be with either your fattiest meal or together with an omega-3 at the same time. Those 2 are like staples for me and most of my clients. "Hey, we gotta start here. Let's get that. That's gonna help with lipids, the vitamin D levels, bone." Vitamin D is a pre-hormone. It helps with testosterone. It's gonna help with sleep. It's gonna help with serotonin, melatonin. It's gonna help even sleep. So I do like that one. I do have younger men that still plan on having kids, and I don't wanna start them on testosterone because 'cause they're gonna have some fertility problems once you do that, so I will postpone that. There are some supplements out there that can help clinically increase testosterone levels. Most of them, if you go to GNC and you go buy their men's testosterone or men's power, whatever they call it, if you look through every single one of those ingredients, they might make you feel like you have higher testosterone. They might help some of those other things like the brain fog and energy and,
Uh-huh.
vasculature, but you do that for 3, 4, 5
Well,
months.
raisin.
You're supposed to, you go get your labs done, didn't touch your testosterone. Didn't touch it, did not go up. Now you may feel better, which is okay, and that's what they're counting on, but it doesn't do anything for your testosterone. There are a couple out there, one that has been clinically or, through a lab shown to increase testosterone levels, and that's Tonkat Alley.
Cat Alley.
Yeah, that one you can put somebody on that for 3 months, and one of my clients, he's in his early 30s, and his testosterone levels are up to, like, close to 800, and when I first saw him, he was at 300, and he's in his early
And
30s.
and what about SHBG? Because it was in a supplement from the thyroid hormone specialist I worked with.
Yeah.
That was her SHBG lowering one, had Tonkat Ali.
Oh, really? Okay, yeah. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
I
So
didn't
that
get
may be
that
one of the
in the
reasons
article or research that I read, but I wouldn't doubt it because it's gotta be doing that somehow. I didn't get
Yeah,
into weeds, but yeah, I wouldn't doubt it, and then just getting people to start going back to the lifestyle part is at least if they're not working out, at least start some zone 2 training. To me, everything starts everybody whether they're working out a lot, and most people that are working out, gym rats or whatever, they're not getting any zone 2. They're blowing right by zone 2. Zone 2 is the foundation. If you wanna build a pyramid, you have to have a really big foundation, and that zone 2 is your foundation. And I'll go through that with everybody, and I start everybody off there. If they haven't been working out, this is where we're starting. If they are working out, good, keep doing that. Add the zone 2 in there now. You know, we're gonna add this in
yeah.
anyway, and I think that all starts to help to get things moving in the right direction. And then again, after that, it just depends on each individual and what they're looking for. I do pretty good goal setting session because I'm not here to tell somebody where they want to go. They got to tell me where they want to go, and I'm just a guide. I'm going to help you get there. So I
Yep,
got people thanking
yep.
me 3 months later, 6 months later. Oh my God, Richard, thank you so much. I go, I didn't do the work. You did the work. I didn't do anything. I'm just a guide here for you. And so the supplements for the brain, there's certain things that'll help better. Can't wait till some of the peptides come back. Hopefully, Bobby Kennedy does what he's supposed what he promised he would do.
Let's
Yeah.
hope. Let's hope.
He had an
Yeah.
ex tweet, he had an ex post saying before the election, he said that, he told the FDA, he goes, "Keep good records and pack your bags because we're gonna reopen, stem cells and and open back up peptides. Let's hope that that's the case.
Yeah, that's the hope. That's for
Yeah.
sure the hope.
Yeah.
Another one I like, NAC,
Oh,
I
yeah.
found is just fantastic. I mean,
Yeah.
your glutathione's your master antioxidant,
Yeah.
and a lot of people have low levels of glutathione. They don't detox well, uh, and so I found that's a really good one that I like to use. It's
Yeah.
cheaper than glutathione. It absorbs better than glutathione.
Yeah.
And yeah. What a fun conversation. This has been
Absolutely. I love doing this. This is the best. And hopefully somebody catches a little bit. I guess we've spoken a little bit. What caught my interest in epigenetics 12, 13 years ago was was a lecture by Deepak Chopra. Hopefully somebody hears something and it triggers them and go, hey, I'm going to dive down this rabbit hole and see what I find out. And
yeah,
it
yeah,
can be life-changing for the better. Absolutely.
You know what
absolutely.
I really love that I wanted to make sure that I just told you, Rich, was on your website, you have this really cool quote that says, "What does your epic life look like?" And then the
Yeah.
quote is, "Only they who can see the invisible can do the impossible."
Yeah.
I love
Can you
that.
just,
Great.
like, tell us a little, just like a little nugget about what you mean by that, that only those who can see the invisible can do the impossible?
Yeah.
Love that.
We're all stuck in what we can see, this reality. This is what's going on. I got to get to work every day. And if you could, through meditation or visualization, see something outside of those borders, whatever's holding you back, or your envelope, if you wanted to call it that, if you could see beyond that, then you can accomplish that. And that's one of the things I do with my goal setting session. I'm asking somebody, where do you want to be in 6 months or a year, depending on my runway, I call it. I don't start everybody off the same. Everything is completely personalized. I don't have a single client, and I probably never will have a single client or two clients that are on the same protocol. Everybody is completely individualized. So depending on their runway, it's either, hey, we got to slam on the brakes because we don't have much room here, or hey, we got plenty of time. Let's just do this nice and slow. Right? Have them look out 6 months, a year out. Tell me what your epic life would look like. If everything was going your way a year from now, what would your health look like? What would you be doing? Where would you be? What major thing would you be accomplishing? And once now they can see that, what was once invisible because they never saw it before. They never even managed to picture that. Now that they can see that and they see it, hey, and I could tell them, look, that's actually possible. I know that
Mhm.
you're probably thinking this is impossible with the shape that you're in now. I know you think that that's impossible, but we can get this done. Give me time. We're going to recheck all of your labs in 3 months. We're going to check your performance in 3 months, and I'm going to show you that we're moving in the right direction. And at that point, we're either going to speed up the process, or you're feeling that this is too hard. We'll slow it down. This is all about you, but we're going to make this possible. And that's when people start to really catch on. Like, holy shit, I can really do this. And once
Right.
they have that little feeling, like I can do this. That's that little,
Yeah.
okay, now we just gotta feed that, make that thing grow. So
The
Yeah.
limit is here. The only limit is here. Do you find that there's some that respond that when you say, where would you like to be? What do you just envision how
yeah,
you would feel with this epic life? And they can't go there. But if you say, what if over the next 6 months you didn't do everything that
right,
you knew was good for you? How
yeah,
would you feel? And they're the ones that respond to I'm like,
yeah.
I don't want to, I can't go
I
there.
can't
So
even
I
wanna
need to work
picture
this,
that,
right? They
right.
they
Yeah,
they don't, and that's what drives them. So I've seen like the two
yeah.
different sides of some that are driven by I want to hit
I wanna
this
get here,
and
and the
look at
other
this,
ones are what
and
I'm
the other ones
avoiding.
are like, yeah,
Right,
or I saw my mother deal with this, my father's dealing with it. I don't want to go there
right.
because that for them is enough to
That's
make them
their
hate.
driver. Yeah,
Yeah,
you have
yeah,
to find their driver. Absolutely, yeah, and everybody's
yeah.
got but I prefer to work off of the future outlook, and one of the things
Agree, agree.
okay? I
Yeah,
tell
yeah.
I tell almost everybody, if not everybody, especially if they've come in with a couple of diagnoses. "Oh, my doctor have told me this. I got diabetes, I got high blood pressure, I got this," and I go, "Okay, first of all of those tags that somebody else gave you, we're leaving them at the door. I'm not gonna give you a diagnosis code. If I send a prescription to your pharmacy, I'm not giving you a diagnosis code. So your insurance isn't going to pay for it because I'm not giving you a diagnosis code. We're looking forward. I want to look forward to
Yep.
2 months and 6 months. And if we're doing all the right stuff, those tags are going to fall off.
Because they become that diagnosis.
Exactly. They believe it.
Yeah.
Doctor told me
Yeah.
I am diabetic.
hear
No,
it.
you're not. You just happen to have high blood sugar levels right now. Doesn't mean you're diabetic. We can fix that. Just got to lower your blood sugar. You know?
When
You
I,
gotta
when
do
I met
work. You gotta
Stickler,
lean into this and do it.
yeah, it's all about looking at what your body needs to get in balance. It's just the body's out of balance. When I first came across the DNA and Apiron, it was at the Paleo FX conference back in Austin in 2019, right? And I'm talking to Dr. Stickler, Dan Stickler, and I said, I've got Lyme disease. And he goes, I don't care. And here's me like just going, I just want to feel better. He's a mess. And he goes, I don't care. So what? And he's as it is. And I was like, what do you mean? But
What do you mean you don't care? Yeah.
Because it doesn't matter. You're just out of balance. And I was like, this dude's crazy. But then when I got it, I got it. And so the people that go over and tell me all their shit that's wrong all the time, it doesn't matter. This is where you are, but you don't have to stay here. The more you talk about I just stay here. That's going to keep you there.
Yeah.
Right?
100%. I've got a great example.
You have to make that commitment to do it.
My very first client, he's still a client of mine. He's about 56, he's 57 or 58 now. When he was like 7 or 8 years old, he got diagnosed with asthma. So they put him on an inhaler. Okay. About when he was a teenager, the inhaler alone wasn't doing it. He got put on like a prednisone tablet.
Oh, God.
47. He's still on this. Every 6 months, he's got to go to the pulmonologist. He's got to go get x-rays. He can't work out because his lungs, and he's always having trouble. I go, my protocol usually starts with sleep. Let's start working with sleep because it's the hardest one to fix. So we're going to start there. The rest will fall in. We can do nutrition and stuff quickly, but getting the sleep fixed is difficult. Okay, let's work on his sleep. The next one is breathing. And this is super important. I'll get back to the story with that one client. But one thing I expressed to everybody, we know how important food is. Everybody thinks they're an expert because they eat. But if you could go about 21, 22 days without eating before stuff really starts to get really bad, could kill you.
Shut down.
Exactly. We could go about 10 days without sleep. If you don't sleep, you're going to do something stupid enough. You're going to be delusional enough that you're going to kill yourself within about 10 days. 3 days without water. We all know that. How long can you go without breathing? 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 10 at the most?
Yeah, if you're lucky. Yeah.
How important is breathing compared to eating? You need to get your breathing right. Who taught you how to breathe? Nobody? Nobody taught you how to breathe.
Mouth breathing, chest breathing.
Yeah, exactly.
All
The stress breathing at top of the lungs.
Yep.
I started there with him. Started with all the breathing exercises, the
4-7-8.
high altitude simulation breathing to help him open up the lungs, create more CO2 that creates more nitric oxide, helps open up the lungs. So within about 4 or 5 months of working together, he goes, "Hey, I haven't taken a pill in about a month." And I go, "Oh, shit, that's fantastic." And he goes, "I haven't told my wife yet because she's going to freak out when I tell her." His wife is a nurse. And so I go, "Dude, just keep working at it." Now he's working out. He's bought a Peloton. He's working out every morning. He was one of those guys that I couldn't even say the word working out. This was movement. I had to start with him.
Yeah.
Go by a couple months and he goes, "Hey, man," he goes, "I got my appointment with my pulmonologist coming up." And he goes, "And I got to tell him that I haven't used the inhaler or the pill in a couple of months now." He goes, "I haven't felt this good in ages." He was already starting to put on a little bit of muscle because that much prednisone and stuff like that, apart from weakening his bones, he couldn't put on any muscle. So now he started to put on some muscle.
His whole life's transformed.
Sees the pulmonologist and he goes, "Oh, that's temporary. In a month, you'll be back on the meds."
Oh, my.
6 months later, he goes to see the pulmonologist again, and he goes, "I need that diagnosis of asthma taken off of my chart." And he goes, "I can't take that off your chart. That's there forever." He goes, "You're asthmatic." And he goes, "No, I'm not." He goes, "It's been a year." since I've used the pump and I'm no longer on the pill. I am no longer
Yep.
have asthma." And he goes, "Yes, you do." And he would not take it off of his chart. And he goes, "I'm never coming back in here." And he's never gone back in there. And altogether, that's probably been it's probably been about 7
Wow.
or 8 years now. Yeah.
So he went from being dependent on the medical system to
To
being his
medication.
best medical advocate,
Yeah.
which is another
Yeah.
thing that we
Yeah.
preach on
And
here
you would
is
not
you
believe
have to be your best.
how many referrals I get from him. Most of my
Yeah.
referrals come from him. He's one of those guys who goes, "Thank you, Richard. I can't thank you enough." I go, "Man, I didn't do the work. You did the work. You're the one riding that Peloton. You're the one doing the injections. I am just a guide here." And he is so happy. And I love that. That's what I live for. That makes the day every time I get a story like that. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That's why I say it's saving lives. It's
Yeah.
saving quality of life,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
saving a life.
Yeah.
Because when someone's
Yeah.
in just mere existence,
Oh,
why are you here?
just going through day to day,
Yeah. Yeah.
living their epic life, not seeing what's outside the envelope. You got to push the envelope every once in a while. I got to go kick the edges a little bit.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I saw a quote yesterday and I wrote it down, but now I can't find where I put it because I said I need to look at that every day. And it was something about, and a lot of times people are going through this and then things start to fall apart. Like they're like, especially when they're starting to really own authentically who they are.
Yeah.
Things start to change.
Yeah.
Things become different because they're viewing themselves differently. They're viewing their world differently. And it was a Chinese proverb. And it was like, when the barn burned to the ground, I could see the sky.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my
Yeah.
God, because we run around going, now the barn's burning.
Yeah, you're
Whether it's your
trapped
health,
inside
your
this.
life.
You're trapped.
You're trapped.
Yeah.
But then when it burns to the ground, you look and you're like, wow, there really is so much I'm able to see now.
Yeah.
And I think that when you really tune into this authentic, amazing human without the limitations that this provides or other people
Yeah. Yeah.
or for me too,
Yeah.
it's just a complete difference in life.
Yeah.
Complete.
100%.
And
Yes,
yeah.
agreed.
So,
Yeah. That's so cool.
all right.
Love it.
Is there anything else Kate, you wanted to add?
I think we're good.
Um,
I think this was a great conversation. Just getting the word out there. More people need to know that there is help, real help. It's not in the sick care system. But yeah, there is something in there. Speaking of that
Bye-bye.
sick care system, our current healthcare system is not, it's built for income. It's not built for outcome. And
Truth.
unfortunately, it's just the way it is. I'm not going to blame the doctors. It's not their fault. They're doing the best that they can with the system that they have. The system that we are working in is busted. It's just, and then just take your time, find somebody, reach out, interview your doctor. If you go see a doctor, interview them.
Interview them.
You
Absolutely.
know,
Anybody.
if you're going to come into, and I tell patients this all the time, if somebody needs a surgery or something like that, and they're going to go, I saw this doctor, he's going to do cervical fusion. And I go, did you just see one doctor or did you see 3? I go, no, I just saw the one. I go, okay, if you're going to get your bathroom redone at your house, you're going to let the first contractor that's going to come in there, you're going to let him do it, or you're going to get 2 or 3 contractors in there. How are you going to have somebody cut your neck open and you're only going to talk to one? I would go talk to 3 of them, see who you like the best, go do some research. You're going to go see a new primary care, find out who they are, what school they went to, where they are, what their philosophy is.
How do they work? Exactly.
Yeah.
And if they're a good fit for you too. Like, I think there's a seat for every ass. There's a practitioner for every person.
Yeah.
And honestly, this is also important when it comes to referrals, because your closest friend could say, I love this physician. They've done me wonders. And you sit with that physician and you feel unseen, misunderstood, not taken care of. So I think you have to follow your own inner compass with all 100%. The providers, with people who are medical, people who are therapeutic, people who are on every level of care. When you're building that team, it has to be for you and only you.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah.
And trust your gut.
So true. 100%. Yeah.
Your gut will sometimes tell you.
Find out. That's my biggest takeaway message, is find the right provider for you, whether it's a coach, just need a coach, and you have a primary care that will just take care of the sick care stuff if it pops up. But if you're working with a good coach, then you probably never get to see your primary care, hopefully. Or
see if your primary care is willing to work with the coach.
Which is what I do. I am a physician assistant. I take care of my own clients and coaching. mixed in there together. But if somebody really it's their primary care and they want to get their blood work done through their healthcare insurance, I'll give them the list. Take it to your doctor if your doctor needs to know why I'm ordering this, because most of them don't know anything about ApoB, homocysteine,
Nope.
and a lot of that other stuff. So I go, if they want to, they can call me and I'll have a conversation with them. But and then I just coach them through. And coaching, it's the best.
Here's a funny one. A couple years ago, I was working with a guy, and after I do the DNA, I give my whole list, and I like that deep dive. I want lipoprotein fractionation. I want the homocysteine. I want everything, all the hormones, full thyroid, not just a damn TSH. And he goes to his functional medicine guy. He emailed or texted me, and he said, so I gave my doc the list, and here's what he said. And the doctor typed him an email and was like, who is this person? There's no reason to have all these things tested. This is ridiculous.
Yeah.
And if she wants them tested, let her test them herself. And I said, did you send the supplemental report that I typed up on your DNA? And he said, no. I said, send it to him. Do you know? A day later, he comes back with his tail between his legs, the doctor. And he said, okay, I'll get you tested for these things. I see where she's coming. So I said, you tell him if he wants to talk to me, talk to me. He was it was just that condescending.
Yeah.
I know everything. I don't think, but you don't know DNA. And so I love when medical people are open to working with coaches. I have 2 other clients, and I'm actually working with their providers as well. And it just makes for such a better team. You, on the other hand, are so fortunate because you can do it all.
Yeah, I'm lucky. I found this, and I already had the background, and I work with a collaborating physician who's the same mindset. So I love that. I'm in lucky. I'm in a lucky place as far as my career goes and doing something I love to do. This is fantastic. Yeah.
So if somebody wanted to work with you, where can they reach out to you? And know that we will have all of Richard's information in the show notes. But little props.
Thank you. All right. livehealthstrong.com, all one word, and live. It sounds live. I couldn't figure out how to get that to sound different, but it's LIV, Healthstrong. Okay. .com. And if you just hit Let's Talk Now or Learn More, there's a little tab on there. It'll give you straight to my calendar. We'll just book an appointment. Usually that first half hour, it's a discovery call just to see if we're a good fit. Same thing I was telling your listeners is if you're going to interview somebody, I do the same thing to the people calling me. I can't
100%.
everybody. Some people are just not coachable. And if I come across somebody who's just not of the right mindset or they're not ready, I gently, nicely will tell them we're probably not a good fit right now. Try this. If in 3 months or 6 months and you start working on these things and mindset shifts a little bit, then absolutely I'm available. But it's a free 30-minute phone call, just a discovery call to see if we're a good fit and see where that person is.
Love it. We both have this. I know Kate and I both have the same philosophy too, that not everybody's a fit for us to work with either. There have to be certain parameters that are set so that, the client's going to reach their goals. Because if you're fighting, I did that when I first started with just.
Yeah. You want to take on everybody. You want to fix everybody.
Yeah. And it doesn't, not everybody wants to be fixed, even though they say they do. They're not ready. And it has to be a good vibe with the energy and all. So
it has to flow both ways too. It's an interview on both sides. If the client likes you and feels the vibe, if you feel like you can help them, if you feel like you're the right energy mix, it's so important. It's so sad that everywhere in healthcare they don't provide these free consultations. It's really
and this way, and there's no pressure. I'm not going to pressure them into doing anything. Even when I worked in the pain management or everything that I've done or surgery. These are your options. I'm going to give you your options, and I'll tell you about all of your options, and I'll do the best I can to make them clear to you. But you're making the final decision. I'm not making the. I'm not telling you need a total knee replacement. I'm telling you these are your options. This is what you do. If you're not ready to make a decision today, book an appointment next month. We'll talk next month. Let me know what your decision is.
Yeah. There's so many of these people have their sales teams making calls for them and taking their calls and doing their discoveries and just pushing that pressure. I'm like, never gonna.
Oh no, that's terrible. I couldn't do that.
Never gonna do that.
Yep.
Thank you.
Oh, absolutely.
So good to see you. So good to see you.
For the opportunity.
Always good to see you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely. Been a little while. Back on.
Yeah,
Well,
for
'cause
sure.
we can go into so many more things, so you have to come
Oh
back
God,
on
for
with
sure.
us again
We should. We
in the
really
future.
should do that again.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yep.
absolutely.
Thank you,
Thank you
Awesome.
for
All
this.
Richard.
right. Yep. Take
All
care.
right, everybody, get out there, make it a fantastic day, and be your most authentic selves. Please share this with someone that it can help. Thank you for listening. Thank you so much for tuning into our podcast.
If you enjoyed this week's episode, we'd love for you to share it, leave a review or comment, and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. Help us get this information out to everyone who could benefit, and we'll keep bringing you the content you crave.
You can also check out our podcast site at everydayepigenetics.co and sign up for our newsletter to stay updated on upcoming episodes. The link is in the show notes.
If you're interested in DNA or epigenetic coaching with Susan, or Radiant Life Coaching for deep inner work with Kate, our contact info is in the show notes below.
Now go and make it a great day and let your most authentic self shine.